Happy Tuesday, everybody. Or actually, it's Monday. Holy crap. Long week. It's Mike at the Humaninc podcast here with George Munoz and Thomas Connor. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome.
Glad to be here, Mike.
That's what I'm talking about. So, last week we had a trial run with the podcast. It was like episode 1. And then I also did the episode 0. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I fresh out of Best Buy this past weekend, got some new equipment, got something called an XLR and some pretty badass microphones. And I think the listeners are going to be able to hear us a lot more. What do you think, George?
Man, this is top of the notch. Is that the right termination?
I think it's top of the line, but it's
top of the
okay.
line. Top of the line. Well, guys, you're gonna be entertained here with my accent. So yeah, this is incredible. The equipment that we just got, you guys are gonna have quality here, a lot of quality. So today we are going to talk with a special person. He's an amazing person as a human and a friend, co-worker, and we're just gonna know him a little bit better today and see what it takes to get to the next level with Thomas Connor.
Absolutely. Thomas, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I had the pleasure of knowing Thomas for a little bit and, great guy, and I also had the benefit to mentor him and help him out. And I think he's definitely one of the reasons why, start like Humaninc. You have somebody that wants to change their lives and they're willing to do the work. And there's a lot that goes into it that most people don't talk about. So enough out of me. I mean, Thomas, tell us a little bit about your story of who you are. Give us an intro.
Oh, okay. I got the floor. My name's Thomas Connor. Very, very excited to be a part of the Humaninc family. I grew up with real estate. My father's a long-term real estate appraiser. So growing up, I was always around it. He worked at home and, it just kind of took off after I had done all the college, after I had done all that I wanted to go into real estate. And then I met you all.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. So your dad was in real estate a little bit. And I mean, how did you come to know me and George?
Well, I met you guys. I actually was at another company. I actually sat with you first day in this line of real estate.
Did I smell bad?
You did not smell bad. That's
good.
Always clean. Piece of gum in your mouth. And you looked like you were having fun doing what you were doing. And gotta
have fun. You have to have fun.
Yeah, I wanted to be around people who were passionate about what they were doing and who were motivated to bring themselves up to the next level in their lives. And that's why I sort of flocked with you all.
Oh, I love that, man. How was your journey? I mean, you're nearing the corner of your being at Humaninc for a little bit now and things like that. So tell us a little bit about the start, how you came to be here and how everything worked logistically for your career.
Pretty straightforward. I mean, my family always talking about going to school, get a degree, get a good job, the traditional American dream. And once I realized that the American dream has changed a little bit after, going into student loan debt and then going back for a second degree, thinking that was going to get me out of the hole, really opened my eyes to other ways to make money. It's been a long journey. And essentially, I always knew I was going to end up in real estate one way or another. Yeah, that's how I got here.
No, but how'd you come to Humaninc? I mean, that's how you came to real estate. But like, how did you come to Humaninc? This company specifically?
Well, I was actually working another job, managing a sales division, and you actually reached out to me like my third day getting an Instagram. Said, hey,
no, I did not slide in your DMs, Tom. That's not how it happened.
A little bit. No. Well,
maybe a little.
Yeah. You reached out to me and really told me that, I should give real estate another shot. And wanted to introduce me to the people at the company, show me the office. I was there within about an hour and a half, and I was sold.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. So, I mean, what kind of fuels you? What went into like your performance and everything like that? Tell us more about that.
Well, I mean, it all comes down to what kind of fuel somebody uses, for whatever they're doing, whether that's real estate, whether that's being a father, whether that's being a husband, you use different kinds of fuel. And somebody in my life that means a lot to me explained that to me. I used to use, negative fuel. In other words, resentment, hatred, anger, I'll show them attitude essentially to get where I wanted to be. And within the last couple of years, I changed the fuel to a positive fuel, things like love, compassion, and wanting to be a better man and create a better life for my family. And I think the positive fuel is more geared towards long term and keeping yourself going.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that. I remember in the beginning when I was like trying to recruit you and everything, I asked you why do you want to be successful in real estate and what that meant to you, and it sounded like you already had a pretty good idea of why you wanted to do those things, and that's what got me excited, man. I think there's an it quality. I can't explain what quote unquote it is. George, you know what I'm talking about. It's like either you have it or you don't. And I know right away when I'm talking to somebody if they have it or they don't. And I knew Thomas had it.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the it factor, it goes across different. I think it's more of, is this person hungry? Are they willing to go above and beyond mediocrity and just going through the motions?
And you got a little bit about the culture and the work ethic and stuff like that from football, right? You played a little bit of foosball in college.
I did.
Was it like D4 or D5?
D5. No, Division III NCAA football. I just say I play college football because everybody's like, oh, Division III. That's like basically varsity high school ball. No. There were some serious athletes. I had the pleasure of playing on the same college football team as my younger brother, Britt. I think there's a lot of life lessons that game in particularly can teach you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was an athlete too. I wrestled a bunch and I remember I loved wrestling because it wasn't a team sport, but it was a team sport, right? Like it was just me and another opponent out on the mat. And, all the glory was mine when I won. But if I lost, I mean, it was so painful. And the harder you work in wrestling, the better you are. And I feel like in a lot of sports, it gives you that cutthroat work ethic, but it also teaches you some humility that you're not like the hottest thing walking around.
I completely agree with that. And it's interesting, the dynamic between, wrestling, which is usually looked at as an individual sport, but it's not. I mean, the team does their conditioning together. They do their workouts together, and you don't win a meet unless everybody wins, So I could also see how, that loss was that much more painful because it solely was on you that you lost.
Yeah. I want to touch back on your fuel thing. I like the way you articulated that, positive fuel, negative fuel. How'd you let go of the negative fuel?
Honestly, my story involves a lot of, not a very high self-worth, right? Like I just kind of, was always second picked or third picked. I was never the first guy to get noticed by something. And I always had that resentment, growing up, small, it took me a while to get to the right size to play high school football. So I always had a chip on my shoulder. And when that transition happened, I mean, honestly, it was probably when my daughter was born.
How old is your daughter?
She's 8. She's
Wow.
a beautiful little girl, happy, healthy, incredibly smart, and I'm incredibly blessed to have her and
That's
be a part
awesome,
of her
man.
life.
Will you mesh that why on how to explain this? Will you say that actually helped you as well to reframe your thought and your why and fuel it with positive with a positive outcome instead of like hatred. Like, you know what? Let me just focus more like on my daughter. Like, how can I be that figure that she can look out for?
Right. I guess it just goes from, a view of all that's important in this world is me, myself, and I. And then you bring another life into the picture, and all of a sudden it's not about me anymore. It's about her. It's about what's best for her and the family. So
yeah,
it's not going to be a happy household if you're fueled by hate, resentment, and anger.
No, I get it. I mean, I talked a little bit about that, the last episode. Like for me, like I don't have any children yet, but for me, like, I had the privilege to go to like a private school. That's like a whole nother story. Really couldn't afford going to private school, but my mom got me into a private school. And so all the kids I went to school with, like, they came for money. And I used to like be so angry at the world because I'm like, why can't I have a family like these people? Or why can't my family have the money and the freedom that these other families do? And then one day I had like an epiphany, and instead of like that anger, that negative fuel, instead of having that and like this animosity towards the world, I said, you know what? Somebody in their family worked hard, right? Like, so you can't be mad at them. Like somebody in their family worked as hard as I'm about to freaking work. And I started doing it.
I mean, I relate to that completely. Grew up lower class, went to a high school with a lot of people that had new cars, in the parking lot and didn't have to worry about certain things. And, I think that's the chip on the shoulder I touched on earlier. You do have that and you put that there. Nobody else does.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I think these are all good things, Tom. And, I had the privilege to, mentor you and coach you. And I mean, you're probably one of the most coachable, people I've worked with. I mean, it's not always easy, but you've trusted me enough to, take the critical feedback, self-reflect. We can have those tough talks. And I think that's a testament to where you're at today.
Oh, absolutely. I used to be that guy who thought I was smarter than everybody else because I had a piece of paper that said so. I was not open to criticism. I took that criticism negatively and eventually, got negative results.
Yeah. No, I hear that, man. It's definitely a blessing, not to get all religious and spiritual, but definitely it's all about the people you have in your life, being open-minded, trying new things. And I think you welcome that.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, when I started and you were recruiting me and everything, like I had a salary position. I wasn't in a bad spot, but you asked me a very blunt question, like, are you happy? And
you didn't look happy when I seen you.
No, I thought about it. I was like, well, I don't have, bill collectors at my door. I don't have my phone blowing up or, like everything was fine, but it wasn't great. And what attracted me to Humaninc, honestly, was that people were after being great, being the top in the industry. And that's naturally, I wanted to be a part of that.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so like this fuel that you have, that you use, that drives you, the positive fuel now, you're no longer using the negative fuel. I mean, what's the shelf life on that fuel?
I mean, honestly, people today call it juice or sauce, what lasts longer in the
juice,
well, juice goes bad in the refrigerator faster than sauce. So you're after the sauce, and I think that,
after the sauce, I like that.
Yeah. Well, the negative energy that, you're trying to let go, instead of using that negative fuel, you use that positive fuel. Not only is your positivity infectious around other people, and it just makes the atmosphere all of a sudden better, but you can withstand a long period of positive energy and a very short period of negative energy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And you have to use these different things. You got to be around the right people too, right? Because like you might have the sauce, but if you're the only one that thinks you have the sauce, I mean, that might turn into like some expired sauce. I don't know. I got another text message. Oh my God. Here we go. This is the second podcast. I get a text message. Jesus.
I was going to say, Tom, you are one of the person that I can truly say that you are the best example of somebody that
took action, and that action like just drastically changed the course of his life, I guess.
Not even action, George, massive action. I mean, because it's like to quit a salary position.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I mean,
I'm just gonna jump. You know, it was like that. And,
he just burned the bridges and jumped right in. I mean, he didn't put his toe in the water. He just like dove right in the waters.
And this is like, you know what? Like, because Tom, he's very analytical. So in order for him to actually make that decision, actually, it was pretty calculated. So, but I guess like all his logic points pointed to the fact that it was a right decision.
By the way, Tom, I'm just going to put this out here now because it's like in hindsight, but I was scared as shit when I was recruiting you. It's like you're putting your faith and trust in me. We didn't have the proven system yet. You were like a pilot of what Humaninc could be, right under my coaching and my training, and they gave me the free reign to do that. And what if it didn't work? And so like it was game time when you were like, Mike, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to get things done. Like I had to level up too, because like I wanted to make sure I was providing you the best value. I mean, look at you. You're a smart guy. You have a lot to offer. And so what I had to give you, I had to make sure it was authentic and it was genuine and it was from the heart and it was stuff that actually worked. Like if I gave you some BS, like, oh, just be positive, Tom, things will get better. Or, oh, make a bunch of phone calls, just work hard. I mean, it goes beyond that. I had to teach you strategy. I had to teach you all these things. And so I'm blessed enough that I had those people in my career that taught me those things that I could pass them down to you. And it was like passing the torch. And honestly, man, it's seriously, it's been an honor and a privilege to watch you grow and to see the lights turn on in your eyes. Like professionally, it's amazing.
No, I appreciate that. And I mean, it takes a village, it really does. And
it takes a village, what, to raise an idiot? Or no,
I was going to go there. No, I mean, but your guidance, George's guidance, Andy's guidance, everybody on the team, if I needed something, it was delivered. If I was told something was going to happen, it happened. Just the way I was told it was going to happen. And that's why you gained my trust. I thought back, I was like, did Mike ever say anything to me that was complete bullshit and it didn't come true? No, he didn't.
You know why? Because as a salesperson, man, like, in my career, I've been a salesperson for the better part of my career. And I've worked at companies and it's like you chase a goal and then like you finally become good enough where you hit your goal and then they move the goal away.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll give you this pay plan or, you'll get this incentive if you just do this, and then you do it and then you don't get the reward. It's like, oh, by the way, we just changed that. It's just out of reach. I'm so sorry. And I got tired of being exploited. So like, I will never be a leader to do that to somebody else because I didn't appreciate that being done to me. And I couldn't do that to you. Right. And one thing that was huge with me when you like decided to join the team was I wanted to make sure I taught you how to do business the right way. Right. Like, not bashing, but like everybody's seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street. Great guy. Right. But like, hitting people over the head, taking advantage of people, all that stuff. Like, that's not the right way to do business, man. Like, the person you're talking to on the other end of the phone or, at an appointment, speaking specifically in regards to real estate, like that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's daughter. So I've always tried to treat everybody like family because like, how would I want my mother treated if she was on the other end of that phone? And that's one message I made it very clear with you. It's like, hey, if you're going to be a scumbag, get the hell out of here. You have no place here. And I'm just happy to be with a company that supports that and doing business the right way. And it's just a breath of fresh air, man, because that's not the norm, unfortunately.
No.
There's some seedy people in this specific industry, and it's polarizing to what we do specifically, and it makes our job a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah, and you actually reminded me of a story I heard in a podcast. I don't remember it quite well, but it was about this guy who was saying like, hey, you don't want to be he came from the military. That's what I remember. And if you notice in the military, you start from scratch, right? Mm-hmm. You're training, you're in the front line, and then you move to general. And then you
I don't think it works quite like that, George. You just move up to general.
No,
I think it's like private, sergeant, lieutenant.
The point that I'm trying to make here is
you just become a general.
no, it doesn't work like that. There's steps. The point is
There's
that
a hierarchy.
you can grow on that hierarchy.
Yeah.
So there's some places that they just want to keep you down. They just want to keep you there, and it doesn't matter how wide your wings spread out. Like they just want to keep you there, and they just cut it. Let me cut it. So here we have an amazing opportunity of grow, and you can grow within you and be able to be more.
Dude, George, I love that you just Miyagi'd us. You know that, like Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid? Wax on, wax off. You're like, your wings grow and a flower grows inside of you in real estate. I love it though. Like that's helped me on some of my darkest days, man. I've had like stressful days. I walk in and George is like, you're like a rose growing out of concrete.
That's very George. That's very George.
Well, yeah, in life you can learn from pretty much everything. So there's a lot of metaphors.
That's what I tell people. I've dropped out of college, man. I'm a student of the world, right? Like I watch documentaries. My wife like hates it that I watch so many documentaries. She's like, oh my God, another documentary. Why are we watching this? But it's like, I want to consume as much knowledge. And I've had that chip on my shoulder too, Tom. Like, you know, I've noticed like some of the top performers that I've come across in this industry specifically, it's, you know, you don't know how, you know, everybody got the chip on their shoulder by way of different means. For me, it was like, I didn't finish college, right? And that was a resentment that I had. And I always felt like I wasn't enough. So I had some of those similar feelings that you had. So how do I address that, right? I try to become 1% better every day. I try to become the best person I can.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what the big thing about breaking out of my cycle of mediocrity was putting pride to the side. I mean, honestly, you know, I have that character defect where I think I'm smarter. I think I know better. I think I know how to do something better, quicker, faster. And, you know, I told myself when I started with you and this company, I'm just going to shut up and listen and do exactly what I'm told to do. And hopefully it works out.
No, it was amazing because sometimes I would give you like line by line how to do things and you would do it and you would get a result, like a successful result. And I'd see the lights come on in your eyes and you'd be like, holy crap, like that worked. Like, oh, I was supposed to send this contract to the title company and do it that way and things will be a lot smoother. And then you would do it to the T and you're like, oh my God, that worked.
You just saved me 2 hours of pulling my hair out.
Yeah, like that was amazing to be a part of, man. It was really cool.
Okay, so let me, I want to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go deep. I heard this.
Be gentle, George.
No, it's pretty simple. It might
What's your
sound,
social,
It
Tom?
might sound silly, but
Just kidding.
In reality, it's that's like exercise that I've seen it at a Tony Robbins event, and also.
Wait, George, we can't say his name without getting endorsements, man. Come on.
I'll say like it's like
a Joni Tobbins seminar.
There we go.
No,
Joni
but I actually
Tobbins.
read it on a book, and I don't remember the. It was about habits. So.
We don't remember the author or the title unless they pay us.
He's pretty much the same industry as us, real estate, and I just want to ask you the first question, like, what's your why?
My why, it's deep. Of course, on the surface, I want, you know, a good life for my daughter. I want to make my fiance happy. You know, I want to grow my family and support, you know, my loved ones.
Okay.
But my big why, honestly, is to grow and help show, I guess, I want to break the cycle of mediocrity in my family, in my bloodline. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
Ooh, I feel that.
You know, but like
I feel that.
working class, working hard, you know,
Break out of
blue collar.
societal
I mean,
norms.
I come from a long, you know, line of union workers, military people, you know, and it's just like, it's been that way for so long.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to break that generational cycle.
That's
So
deep.
you just want to break the generational cycle. So the second question will be why?
Why break it?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to have like a line of Connor hotels instead of Hilton and, stuff like that. But leaving an impact, like a legacy, I guess would be my why is.
So leaving a legacy will be that.
Mhm.
And the third question will be why?
Why leave a legacy?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I have grandkids one day and great grandchildren, and I want them to be able to aim higher.
Aim higher. So you want your generation, your kids, grandkids to aim higher.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with union, blue collar, hard work. Nothing like that. I want them to know that, hey, somebody in my family did it this way.
Yeah.
And why?
Why that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of whys, man.
I know that's the purpose of the whole thing.
So why do I want them to look up?
Yep.
Because we spent generations looking down, working with our pets.
Come on, Tom. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end. There's like 7 whys, but so I wanna end with fifth why, and why do you really want that to happen to you, to your generation? But what does that mean to you?
What does it mean to me? I guess a greater level of freedom for the people in my family. Whether that's mentally, like freeing them from the box that they, like the cubicle or whatever you want, like the box that they are told that they are supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Showing them that you can go against the grain, that you can do something differently than your father or his father's father or any of them, and be successful and happy.
That's such amazing, and it's incredible. Like every time I talk to, at least with my great friends around me, at the end, ultimately, they just want to be able to impact and change their surroundings because they were able to learn something that actually made an impact in their own life. And I've seen this in Michael's, now you, Tom, and other friends as well. But it's amazing how I surround myself with these amazing people and how they're able to aim higher and also give back to what they have already learned. And I don't know, I just think that's very empowering. And whoever is listening, we have to aim higher because like otherwise, why are we here? It's not everything about money. Now, yeah, money's very important and it's great. And because you can actually impact other people's life as well. Though at the same time, it's a tool. It's a tool for you to have other people see what's possible. And just wanted to share that.
I appreciate it.
No, that's definitely, George, well said. It's a responsibility, man. If you're going to carry that on your shoulders, I think that's remarkable. For me, it's kind of like when I told you the story with me going to the high school. Somebody in their family worked hard. Like somebody gave those kids those opportunities. And I couldn't articulate it back then, but it was like, I want to be that for my family. Not that my parents led me astray or anything like that. They did amazing, right? But it's like there's nothing wrong with wanting more and to take care of the loved ones that you have. And also wanted to inspire people, impact them. This is so much deeper than, again, we touched on it in the last episode, but it's like so much deeper than material things or, your own happiness. You're grinding not only for your dreams, you're grinding for future generations' dreams. That's pretty big.
It's a huge deal.
Super, super huge deal. So it's like, I think that's a great story, Tom. And I really appreciate you sharing that because, I think there's somebody out there listening that might want to get into real estate and they're like, oh, I don't want to tell people, right? Because I'm scared of what they're going to say. Or, I'm thinking about quitting my job to go do whatever I aspire to do. But I don't know. Can it work? And I don't know, Tom, can it work? Can it work if you bet on yourself? Can it work?
Yeah. It's working for me right now. Now doesn't go to say that it was easy.
What was hard about it?
For me personally, keeping the belief in myself. It's really easy to start off, right out the gate, hitting and running, making those 200 calls a day, asking a million questions, but like to sustain that for years and years and years. I mean, there's something to be said there.
No, I absolutely. Not to put your business out there, Tom is an occasional smoker. And so when he first started, I remember like he came in hot out the gate. I mean, that boy was on fire. That was hot out the gate. And he came out, he's like just pounding the phone, calling people, like turning over every stone to like try to make something happen. And then all of a sudden he just hit this wall. And I remember just seeing him like looking disheveled. He came in with like the shirt tucked in, shiny shoes to like now he's coming in sneakers, the polos, like, the collar's wrinkled, his hair's all whatever, he's smoking a cigarette. I'm like, Tom, it's going to be okay, man. Like, do you believe that it's working out for me? If you believe that it's working out for me, let me tell you that it can work out for you too. And you trusted me enough to believe that, and you followed that process. And guess what? There's other people that don't follow processes and don't believe things like that. And guess what? The numbers speak for themselves. I mean,
spot on. I mean, when you were talking about like, who do I tell? Like you talking about the listener, like I want to go into real estate. I want to do this. I want to do that. Be careful about what you tell and who you tell it to.
You avoid the naysayers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Steve Harvey, I love the guy. I've been watching him.
Love Steve Harvey. Yeah.
He's actually got some things to say. And I was, on the way to work, listening to some motivational stuff like I do. And, it was profound. He said, don't tell your big dreams to small-minded people.
Yeah.
I think it was an Oprah.
The crazy part about it is sometimes those small-minded people though are the closest ones to you at that moment in your life. And it's crazy. Like I have some childhood friends that I can't talk to anymore. I can't have a conversation with anymore because it's like we're on two different wavelengths. Not that I'm better than them or anything like that, or I feel superior. Nothing to do with that at all. Right. But it's just like we're talking about two different things, man. Yeah. They're talking about getting a job and they're happy because they got benefits. That's not my goal.
Yeah, it's incredible. I read on Be Obsessed or Be Average by Ricardo. Mm-hmm. He talks about the naysayers and your enemies, and he goes like, "Hey, you have to be careful with your naysayers because most of the time, like Michael said, like the naysayers are the people next to you. And guess what? Sometimes they're not going with a bad intention. They're just basically looking out really for real, 100% looking out for you. But the thing is that they're not on that state of mind yet. Mm-hmm. So from their perspective, they're just thinking, oh my God, he's going to jump a cliff. He's just going to jump. Hey, be careful. Don't do that. And in your mind, like, hey, I'm not going to jump a cliff.
Put on the parachute.
I already have my parachute. I already know. I already trained, So that's the moral of the story there.
But you got to surround. I think all of us in here, though, I mean, George, you can speak to this. I mean, Tom, you have to surround yourself with people that are like, they believe in you. Like my wife, like when I first got into real estate, I remember I told her, I was driving my car home. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Like I had this amazing opportunity in real estate. I knew the guys were doing well for themselves, but I was like comfortable. I was like selling furniture at this company, paying my bills. I had benefits, health benefits, 401k, all that, right? Like great company to work for. Nothing bad. And that was probably one of the hardest things I had to do was to leave there because like my immediate needs were met. And I never even thought like, selling furniture could do well, but like this company was like, a pretty decent company and they really took care of their employees. And I remember driving home and talking to my wife like, oh, I have this opportunity. And she's like, do it. Just do it. And I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, like I'm taking care of things. Like we're getting back on our feet. And she's like, just go for it. And like just my biggest cheerleader. And like, that's why I married her. Right. I mean, and I know you have that in your fiance. Like she's like, I mean, and George has that in his wife and we have that in our personal friendships. And you have to surround yourself with people that are yay sayers, not naysayers.
Like that. I like that a lot. I mean, for instance, when I told my friends and family that I was quitting my job for a commission-only position, Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Tom, you're gonna do what now?
Deep breath in. What are you doing?
You're gonna do what now?
Yeah. So it was not met with the greatest response. But now that I've been doing it a while and my life has changed significantly, I think some eyes are open, and now that the mouths are shut.
You know what? I think like every time you expect a reaction like that from someone else, I've learned to take it like, oh, if they're reacting that way, that means that there's something in me that I'm not portraying, or I'm not, or in their eyes, it doesn't seem like I'm capable of achieving that. So I actually, most of the time I take it on myself, and because actually that's the reality, because they're perceiving you like, I don't know, like a little boy. Like, I don't know, you can do that. Like, it's impossible, So yeah, so I think in a way that's kind of like correlated with what you said about Steve Harvey. Don't tell the big dreams to small-minded people, because they're just going to do whatever, that's their limit of the perception that they have of you, and also on the capability that they have for themselves, because it's a reflection of their own capacity. So. No,
that's just it. It's like, again, that's why I can't talk to certain childhood friends. It's like they know the old Mike. They know the Mike, eating a whole bunch of sunflower seeds, talking crap. And like, I don't know. They just don't know this version of me. And, being in real estate as long as I have, and now being a sales leader and having people under me that are high level, like Tom and George, like, right. Like, they don't know that side of Michael. And it's like, I had to change myself. You have to grow continuously. And, I think it's important for everybody to keep the people around you that are going to hold you accountable, the people that are really going to believe in you, because it's important. Sometimes when you have those rough days and you're looking disheveled, how Tom used to look, not to put you out there, Tom, but you're really stressed out. I would come over and say, what, Tom? What would I say to you?
It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right, man, because I've been there.
Get back on the phone.
It's going to be all right. Get back on the phone. More dials. But no, it's really big. I mean, even like George and the last company we were part of, ironically, we both separated around the same time, right before the pandemic, or right like amidst like the pandemic, like 2-week lockdown. Yeah. And it was probably the scariest thing. And I had no idea we were going to work together again. I know George probably didn't. Like, we had no idea, but George was a friend. He was there for me. I mean, there was days where I called George where I had tears in my eyes, man, where I'm like, dude, I only have X amount of dollars in my bank account, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's like, bro, I don't know what I'm going to do either, but guess what? We had each other. And I know that sounds cheesy. That sounds cliche, but we were grinding with each other when we didn't have anything. We were grinding with each other when we have stuff. And it's like,
like brainstorming.
That's it, man.
What are we going to do? Let's do this. Let's do that.
It's like, oh man, I'm going to buy a 3D printer and make a whole bunch of stuff. George, are you down? He's like, yeah, let's do it. Like, just coming up with all kinds of crazy ideas. It's like, hey, I'll be a Lyft driver. We could split the car. It's like just coming up with different ideas. But he was a friend to bounce ideas off of. He believed in me. I believed in him. And it's so crucial as an entrepreneur or as somebody chasing your dreams to have that.
Well, to speak on that, Mike, I mean, I remember, after I came and saw the office and met with you, Andy, and, kind of saw what was going on, we went back to your place and we had a real heart to heart. And you told me, basically, why don't you believe in yourself the way I believe? And, that was the trigger, Mike. That moment right there, I'll never forget it, on your balcony.
Yeah.
Telling me like, Tom, like, you got it. You just got to believe what everybody else can see. And, that's the moment it happened. I was like, I'm sold. Let's go. I resigned the next day. I was in the office.
Like, that was it. We went back to the house with our volume up. Don't stop
believing.
Yeah. Well, kind of. No.
To that feeling. I don't know the rest of the song, but I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those it might not have been a big moment to you, but it was a huge moment in my life because I was like, all right, I'm 30, about to turn 31 years old. This might be the last leap I could ever take. Realistically, like this is the last job I could quit.
No, I mean, that's a real thing, dude. That's a real thing.
Yeah. Sometimes you can screw up yourself of not entering to the promised land. And let me explain.
Sure, here goes George's Miyagiing us again.
So look, in the Bible, and I'm not going to go religious or anything like that, but this is story, So you have Moses. God tells Moses, "Hey, you are going to find promised land," and for 40 years, leading people, going around for 40 years. He finally is able to see the promised land. God tells him, "Hey, that's a promised land." I'm not going to go into detail, but guess what? At the end, he didn't get inside the promised land. Not a lot of people know about that. He did not get inside the promised land because he did something that I'm not going to go into detail. But the point here is that sometimes you have like a destination or some place to go, and because you made a radical decision at that particular time, you miss the bus. Mm-hmm. So I do think that actually happens. Yeah, everybody's destined to great things. Everybody has the same opportunity. Everybody has 24 hours to accomplish a bunch of things. But in a rash decision moment, you might make the wrong turn and spin around for 40 years and not enter to the promised land. Mm-hmm. So we always have to check ourselves, be self-aware of who we are, and just try to do better.
George, that was so well said. I was so scared you were going to say, like, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to go to hell. But now I just said it ironically. I don't believe that for our listeners out there, but I thought George was going to get all like weird, like, hey, come to my church. No, not knocking it. Like, there's nothing wrong with being spiritual or religious, but I was like, George, don't say it. Don't do it, please.
Don't do it.
This is our third episode. Don't do it. Don't do it, George. Or second episode.
But no. So yeah. So there's a lesson for everything, and I guess like main points here, like surround yourself with great people that are achieving, people that are doing what you want to do. And if there's something you need to change in your mind that you're self-aware that you have to, just put your mind into it and try to do that. There's a lot of
I love it. I think, George, the way we ended the show with you coming with the key takeaways, I think I want, like, let's keep doing that where you have the key takeaways at the end. But can you do me one favor, please? Can I have a little falsetto? Please. Come on, George. Let's just get a little outro.
I don't even know it.
Come on, like the song from Step Brothers from the Catalina Wine Mixer. Come on. Come on, George, a little something.
Caught me off guard.
Please, George, come on, don't do this.
Tell me one song.
I don't and your favorite. The Italian one that you said.
Che bella cosa.
Oh, yes.
La giornata sole. Guarda di serene. La marinculina.
It's like melted in my eardrums.
Oh, it's amazing. Just make love to my eardrums, George. All right, All right, we'll see you guys next week. Humaninc.